Hello and welcome. With jet fuel prices, or ATF prices as we know them, rising and travel demand now easing, airlines like Air India, Air India Express, and Indigo are now reducing domestic operations. With these declarations that have just come about today, Larissa D'Sa helps us understand the impact of all of this. She is one of the most influential digital voices today. So, Larissa D'Sa, thank you for joining us for this exclusive interaction on Times Now Digital. I'd like to begin by asking you, how do you think this move will impact all those planning their summer vacation at the moment, as well as an influencer's travel schedule altogether, or someone who's been so passionate about travel for over 15 years now? How will this really impact your plans ahead going forward?
Hi, Sakshi. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Firstly, I feel talking from personal experiences, I think if travel is your core and you have to get out of the house and that's how you function, I feel like um, you have to take the brunt of the rising prices. I mean, I've seen uh, prices really like hit the roof, especially like when you want to fly out even to places like from Bombay to Goa. And it can get a little difficult, but I feel it also somehow increases your chances of doing a road trip instead of taking the flight. um it's nice. I mean, in my opinion only, I feel slowing down can be really good for everyone. um Taking road trips, another thing, is great. I'm always looking at the bright side, and I'm always looking at travel in a very positive sense. So even if tomorrow there are no flights at all, I think the best we can do is make the most of our resources. And by that, I mean, definitely drive to wherever you want to go, do more staycations with your family. In fact, I just did one with my family. I just came back today and
Mm-hmm.
we drove, and it was a 4 hour drive. There are so many beautiful places around, and there's so much to see in our country. I feel getting out of your city can always be nice, and especially when you have the road to take. However, personally, I have not seen a difference in my style of travel because I do take the flight whenever I want, and if I have to take that vacation, uh, read vacation, but in my terms, it's my work. So like if I have to get there and do my job, I mean, I have to do it. So it doesn't change anything for me. Um, Definitely, if the prices go for around like 10 times to what it is right now, then I'll have to rethink a lot of things. But travel is always like that. It's always been um, very dynamic, especially with so many things changing. I feel there was also a time during COVID when you couldn't travel at all. And I feel you have to do with what you get. And I think, in a very philosophical term, travel teaches you about that. So for me, whatever happens happens for the best. I mean, take it with a pinch of salt, but I mean, I don't think it should affect you. But I feel if you're like heading out and you have your plans already set with your family or your friends, and especially for people who do not have this as a job, for people who have a 9 to 5 job, and like particularly take leaves for their vacation, it can get really really problematic. And it's bad on that front. But what can you do? You can't really do anything about it.
Right. So you're saying, look, we should learn from the pandemic. We should look at the bright side. Like you
Definitely.
mentioned, for many, who were planning their summer vacation or their annual study leave, this does come as a fresh setback. So do you think that staycations and budget travel will now be on the rise?
I think so, yes. I think it's always like a mix of things that keeps happening. I mean, people call it trends. Trends too, yeah. I mean, like slow travel can suddenly become a trend. And, like, I mean, road trips can suddenly become a trend. But I look at it I feel in a very sustainable way. People do things that feel sustainable to them. And I mean, if it means like, this is exactly what I did recently. I traveled with my family 4 hours away, and it was something I did after a really long time. So it meant, for us, it meant um, slowing down. And we did that after a very long time with like four of us together. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I can take some lessons from that, that okay, maybe, with all of this happening, and they literally did point out that the flight tickets were expensive, and that's why we should do something that's close by. And that's how the whole uh, something in Maharashtra, let's do something in Maharashtra itself, happened. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it slows people down, and it's not a trend per se, but I think uh, it just makes us like, it gives us like sustainable options to do different things in different styles and different ways. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they these plans can be really wholesome if you look at it. So it gives you some time to think through a lot of things, um, your travel style. And slow travel is something I personally love. I feel you should immerse in travel. There was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of revenge travel happening after COVID, and they call it revenge travel, but people went berserk with booking their flights. Let's travel now. 2 years we haven't traveled. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great, but at the same time it also took a hit somewhere, and that's why people are now slowing down. Also, the digital world has been so full of travel everywhere. It makes people feel FOMO, fear of
Mm-hmm.
missing out on travel. And people are doing travel just because they also want to like show a lifestyle online. Like, this is my observation.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it's great, but I think travel is something that is so sacred. Um, Sorry if I'm getting very philosophical, but I feel travel is super sacred. It's nothing too bad that's happened. If we have down, if we have a lot more slow travel, it's great.
Right. Now, do you see this as a warning sign of long-term issues in the aviation industry or a short-term sign of the current economic uncertainty globally?
I do look at it, and I think I've observed this from quite a while now. It's not just recently that I've realized this and I've observed this. I think slowing down with travel came through that. Like, even I have slowed down a lot of my travels, carry it into my life as a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no option of like traveling outwards, there's always traveling inwards. But you can always like look back at your travel stories or whatever. But uh, I don't think it stops too much for me. Like I said, it's also a part of my job, so I do it like constantly, and I have to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
it is somewhere a warning, I think, for a lot of us to slow down generally, and not just with travel, but a lot of other things that we are racing with. There's so much of fast paced everything that's happening. And I think the whole graph with the COVID phase really took off, especially with the travel industry, with aviation, and with all of that that's happening in the world now. I think it's best if everything slowed down, not just travel, if
It's
you look at
best if
it.
everything slowed down, not just travel. Lastly, I want to ask you, in these globally uncertain times, what would be your message to governments, to policymakers, to consumers and daily commuters, as well as passengers, as well, as influencers like you who will now be looking at perhaps changing the way they work, your message to them?
Well, I have a lot to say, but I think one thing I would definitely mention is about sustainability. And sustainability doesn't just come with um, buying organic produce and being sustainable in your lifestyle, but I think also sustainability in your mindset, in the
Mhm,
way you live your life uh, through the day also. I
mhm,
feel even with everything that I've mentioned, like being so fast paced, I think everybody's in a race. I think all of that that's happened in the past 6 months or 8 months in the
mhm,
world. We've got to know, and we've got to now realize that we've got to make sure we have all our resources in place, and we have um, we've got to think of the future. We've got to all be visionaries in terms of finances. With whatever happens in uh, on the economical tangent, I think we've got to be uh, prepared for what's coming. And
Hmm.
uh, I think not panicking is one major thing nobody tells us about. Uh, we all operate from panic, and that
Hmm.
is one thing you should not do. When you operate from panic, whatever you produce is not really great for all of us. So I think operating at a very in a very resourceful manner, and also being very thoughtful with how you operate on a daily basis is what important. So the
Hmm.
solution is just to embrace what's coming and to not panic.
Right. Embrace what's coming. Do not panic. Appreciate you joining us and sharing your thoughts. Thank you for this interaction.
Thank you so much, Sakshi, for having me.